All right, everybody, welcome to Wednesday Night Slides number 73. I just have two topics today. And they're both from 2008. We'll jump right into the slides here. Let me just hit my share button. And you all should be seeing the title slide.
As
And
long as you're on the Continental Divide, I can see it.
that's where we are. As usual, if you have any questions or comments during the program, feel free to unmute yourself. If you're on a computer, the easiest way to do that is to just hit your space bar, hold it down, ask your question, and release it. If you unmute yourself, please remute yourself afterwards just to keep the background chatter down. All right, let's get underway here. We're going to start off. Let's see if I can do this way. Cannot. Go this way. We're going to start off on the Wanamaker Kempton and Southern Railroad in Pennsylvania. This is a charter that happened in May of 2008. It popped up on a friend's Facebook feed this week. And this was an interesting charter. It was put together by somebody who had never done a charter before, a kid, Christian Signorelli, and I call him a kid because he didn't have his license yet or anything. Young guy. The trip wasn't that expensive, so I said, "What the heck? Let me give it a shot." So I headed out to Wanamaker, which is located out sort of near Reading, northwest of Philadelphia, and their 060 tank engine was put onto a mixed train, and away we went. We had a little bit of bad weather in the morning. Here we see our tiny tank engine pulling a big refrigerator car. The line is about 4 miles long, and with the tank engine, um, water is always an issue. The tank engines were built to just shuttle around the yard and take on water as they needed to. Uh, so for this charter here, what Christian did, uh, as far as the schedule goes, is we went out and um, did two photo locations with 3 run-bys each. Ran back to Kempton, took on more water, and repeated the cycle over again, and did that 3 or 4 times. Here we are in the Kempton yard with their, I think that's an Army switcher there, dressed up as a Lehigh New England switcher. The Kempton Depot, this is on an ex-Reading branch line. It's now landlocked. The south end of the line, down to where it connects to the outside world, has been taken out. And we just rode around in the coach caboose, and the gondola has seats in it. But we cleared that out for the photo stops. And it turned out to be a really neat little trip. And everybody had a pretty good time on it. No real nobody complained. It was exceeded expectations, and it wasn't that bad of a trip. It really wasn't. Nice little line. A lot of interesting photo locations along it. Certainly kept us entertained for the 8 or so hours that we were out. Then at our last run-by location, this group of Boy Scouts came out to see what was going on. And I said, hey, you guys get into the picture. So we had them go up and wave to the train as went by for our final shot of the trip. So that was a little look at the WKNS from May of 2008. We're now going to move on to September 2008. And a trip I took with my brother Bruce out to Montana, North Dakota, and Saskatchewan. If you've been watching my Facebook feed, you've seen some of these photos pop up over the last week or so. I got a few more than that here, and can tell you a little bit of the stories behind them. Anyhow, here's where the trip is going to wind up going. We're going to start off over in Spokane, which is over on the far left side of the screen there. The initial part of the trip takes the northern route across Montana. The numbers in the boxes indicate the number of photos near the locations on the map here that I have in the show. Scoot across Montana along the Great Northern over to Havre, or if you're a Packers fan, it's Harv. From there, shoot northeast, that cluster of photos just below Moose Jaw. That's where the Great Western Railway runs. We're going to follow that, then go up a little further north there above Moose Jaw, spend some time on the Canadian Pacific Main Line over towards the Manitoba border, then drop south down to Bismarck, North Dakota on the far right edge of the screen, and then follow the Northern Pacific back across North Dakota, back into Montana. When we get to Laurel, it's all BNSF now until we get to Laurel. Then once we hit Laurel, then we pick up Montana Rail Link, follow that back to Sandpoint, Idaho, and then eventually back to Spokane. So away we go. We're going to start off in Sandpoint, Idaho. This is on Bottle Bay Road. That's Lake Pend Oreille you're looking at here. Train coming off of the long bridge over Lake Pend Oreille. That's the same train out on the bridge. That's his DPU back there pushing the train. And then following the old Northern Pacific eastward, Great Northern rather, eastward, we wind up in Libby, Montana. BNSF train coming past the Amtrak depot in Libby. Wolf Prairie, Montana. The water tank is, I believe, a railroad structure, part of an old maintenance base here. Then the next morning when we got up, we heard on the scanner that Amtrak was blocked outside of Columbia Falls, Montana. And so we went out looking for it, and amazingly enough, it was near road access. We found the Empire Builder waiting for somebody to come and get this big rock out of the tracks. Didn't take terribly long, and they were on their way fairly soon. But we went off and looked for some more BNSF trains. This is near a railroad location known as Tamarack. It's not really on the map anywhere. Roughly the same area, looking the other direction. And this is a location on the railroad known as Riverview. The map location is Jennings, Montana. And back to Tamarack for another train. And then that night, we were at the old Great Northern Depot in Whitefish when the Empire Builder came in. Rocky the Goat, the mascot of the Great Northern, watches the trains go by there at the depot. Next morning, we're off to Columbia Falls, Montana. Back then, graffiti was kind of rare. So this is kind of cute and pretty and stuff because it wasn't everywhere. It was isolated to this one wall here. Now graffiti is everywhere, so it's not as unique or as cool anymore. And I understand now that this wall actually the graffiti that's currently on it is a lot worse than what it was back then. Nowhere near as colorful. We get to West Glacier, Montana, the gateway to Glacier National Park. The Great Northern skirted the south end of Glacier National Park. We have a eastbound train here. And not far from there is, from West Glacier, is the Two Medicine Bridge. Probably the most photographed railroad location in all of Montana. Everybody has shot it. Didn't stop me from shooting it. It's a neat location. Train coming west, coming out of Tunnel 3.8 near West Glacier. And this route here goes over Marias Pass. And here we are at the summit of Marias. Elevation 5,215 feet. At the appropriately named Summit, Montana. Grain train going west past the eastern end of the siding at Java. And of course, Essex, Montana, which has the Isaac Walton Inn, the old Great Northern lodging establishment that has since moved on to private hands. Just came under new ownership again just the last year. Great Northern and later Burlington Northern and BNSF stationed helpers here at Essex. That's the helper yard in the background. Once you get past East Glacier, the scenery immediately turns into rolling prairie. This is a location called Grizzly. And we had a pretty spectacular storm sunset that night. We're back at Essex here. The Isaac Walton is just out of frame to the right. Amtrak's Empire Builder coming through. Heading west. Heading east. Don't ever get me out on the West Coast. Here on the East Coast, towards the ocean is always east, away from the ocean is always west. Out on the West Coast, towards the ocean is west, and it confuses me. We're at snow shed number 7 at the appropriately named Snow Slip, Montana. The snow sheds keep avalanching snow from blocking tracks. And back to the summit of Marias Pass. And then this is definitely the eastbound Empire Builder, because now we're out onto the rolling hills just beyond East Glacier with the mountains of Glacier National Park in the background. Not quite done yet. We're at Falls Summit, which is closer to East Glacier, closer to West Glacier on the other end of the park. And Sheep Creek Trestle near Essex.
Steve, you said that's 2008, correct?
It is.
I was there in 2019, and some of those trees have grown up and blocked the bottom part of the trestle now and hiding the trucks and stuff.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Things change, I tell you. Time goes on, just a lot of these vistas have vanished. This is back up at shed number 7 at Snow Slip. And then out into the rolling hills at Grizzly near East Glacier. Eastbound train. And here's a westbound grain train coming up over the crest here. We stumbled into this inspection train of some sort, being powered by a GP30 heading west. This is the other end of snow shed number 7. Back near West Glacier, this is tunnel number 4, I believe. And then our inspection train going by the west end of Belton siding at West Glacier. Belton is named for the Belton Lodge, which is close by here. The Belton Lodge was the first of the lodges built by the Great Northern for Glacier National Park. Back to the other end of the park. This is at Grizzly again near East Glacier. Silhouette as you get towards the evening. Continuing east, the next morning we're in South Browning, Montana. I believe the fencing along here is to keep blowing snow from drifting onto the tracks. The big trestle at Cutbank, Montana, that's the Empire Builder. This is actually from the parking lot of the Super 8. The rear rooms here of the Super 8 overlook the trestle. Still in Cutbank, we find this old wooden grain elevator there. And another elevator out at Etheridge, Montana. Then a train showed up, so back to Cutbank to get it out on the trestle. Super 8 parking lot is just out of frame to the right. And this nice trio of elevators at Devon, Montana. Another elevator, we're at Galata, Montana. And a pair of elevators at Lothair, Montana. Here's a train coming through the town of Chester. Chester's sign features a grain elevator on it. And you can see in the distance, there's a couple of elevators downtown. And we followed this train and got him back at the older elevator at Lothair. And going past the 3 elevators at Devon. And we stayed with him to get him. Well, this is a different train, I guess. Anyhow, this is a train at Galata, which has old cattle pens there as well. That evening, we found the MMI grain facility in Rudyard, Montana. Their switcher is an ex-Raris Railroad Jeep. The Raris Railroad was the Butte, Anaconda, and Pacific. It became the Raris. Since this trip, the Raris has changed its name back again to Butte, Anaconda, and Pacific. Did a couple of evening shots here. Next morning, we are heading north towards the Canadian border, but we cross an old abandoned line in Loring, Montana, that had 3 elevators still standing. The tracks used to run just in front of those elevators. Then we cross the border and find this former Saskatchewan wheat tool elevator in Cadillac. Now we're on the Great Western Railway. At the time, they were running these Montreal Locomotive Works locomotives built on the designs of the American Locomotive Company. So they're Canadian Alcos, basically. M420Ws, I believe they are. But the Alco days were rumored to be coming to a close on the Great Western. So we shot up here to get these, chase it around for a couple of days. Going past the elevators in Woodrow, Saskatchewan. Climbing the grade at Melival. During the chase, we found this elevator just west of Limerick, Saskatchewan, and still had time to regroup and get into downtown Limerick to get the train going by the Patterson elevator there. That evening, we went up to the Canadian Pacific Main Line at Pence and got this sunset shot of the train coming east. And then some sunset shots of the elevator at Pence. Next morning on the CP main line, we're at Mortlach, Saskatchewan. Two trains meeting. We're on the Canadian Pacific main line here, the transcontinental main line. Still looking for some old elevators. We found this Wheatpool elevator, still with its Wheatpool logo on it, in Willows, Saskatchewan. The Wheatpool sold off a lot of their elevators, of those that were still left, around 2001, 2002. Divested a lot of them, and many were bought up by local co-ops and farmers and stuff. But for the most part, they all lost their yellow and red pool logos. So it's kind of cool to still find one with the pool logo on it. Between Willows and Verwood, we found this old United Grain Growers elevator, which sits in a farmer's backyard now. And then the train started running. So we got the hopper car is going by the elevator at Willows. So I wanted to get the Canada car lined up underneath the elevator there. But we're back on the Great Western, and now we're in the yard in Assiniboia, Saskatchewan. Train getting ready to leave. And we're off with this train here. This is at Maxstone, Saskatchewan. The orange hopper car is to carry ballast. They were doing some dumping of ballast along the right of way here and there as they went along. Here's the train dropping down in the Scout Lake. The guy on the front is ready to get off and start walking alongside the ballast car to release some ballast onto the right of way. And then sunset is at the elevator in Congress, Saskatchewan. Next morning, we're at Mossbank, Saskatchewan. And then this elevator loading a grain car in Candiac. And the Louis Dreyfus elevator in Kegworth on the Canadian National has its own switcher. Some Canadian National road power in the back there waiting to take a train out. Back to the Canadian Pacific, the two elevators in Indian Head, Saskatchewan. A train going through Wapella. Hard to see in this shot here, but the white band on the long hood of the lead locomotive there, the only locomotive there, the white band on it. CP painted several locomotives for the 2010 Olympics that were coming up in 2 years in Vancouver. Whitewood, Saskatchewan. You can see it's a former wheat pool elevator that's lost its pool logo. One of my favorite elevators is this huge elevator, huge wooden elevator in Grenfell, Saskatchewan, on the CP main line. Eastbound and westbound trains going by it. Over to Wolseley for a sunset shot. And there's still just enough time to get back into Grenfell and get this train that was setting out cars at the elevator. Another former wheat pool elevator in Moosomin. So I was going through these over the past month or so, pinning down locations so I could geotag my photos. Um, some elevators are still there, some have vanished. The Moosomin is one of those that's still there. There were two elevators in Mortlach, they're both gone. Um, Pretty hit or miss. This one's gone. This is an old short elevator in Fleming. And then Whitewood, another former wheat pool elevator. From here, we headed south, back across the border, back into the U.S. And the next morning, we're up bright and early to get this Burlington Northern work train coming off the bridge in Bismarck, North Dakota. That was followed by this road freight. I would have liked to have gotten the engines a little bit closer and down into the curve there, but there was a cloud that was moving, and the cloud was moving towards the bridge. The train was coming off the bridge, and this was the best I could do before the cloud swallowed up that entire curve and then the entire bridge. This is actually with the cloud over the train. I just brightened it up in Lightroom. You can see the bridge is still in sunlight, but there's the cloud is in here now. From here, we started chasing trains on the old Northern Pacific, heading back west. Coal train at Glen Ullin. Going west. Got this eastbound also near Glen Ullin. North Almont had these two cool old wooden elevators side by side. And so we did some poking around here between trains. This is kind of interesting. This is one of the floorboards. It still said Great Northern Railway on it, but the Great Northern is actually many miles to the north. We're on the Northern Pacific here, so I'm not sure where this floorboard came from. Eventually, a westbound train shows up, and this is at North Almont still, with a ratty former Santa Fe war bonnet on the point. And we gave chase on this one here and got it again going through Richardton. Most of the elevators here in Richardton are gone now, although the Occident custom grinding elevator down to the rear of the photo, that still stands. Staying at Richardton, we got a full moon rising, last rays of sun as this train comes west. And then the same train going away into the setting sun. We're back in Montana at this point, I believe. Um, this is at Sentinel Butte, two grain elevators there. Westbound train in the morning. And then we we found this old passenger car. I believe it's near Y Box, but I haven't been able to find it on any satellite imagery. I've looked all along there. I've been chatting with an engineer who runs this line, and he says, "Yeah, the car is there. It's close to the tracks." He ran the line. He doesn't run it anymore. He ran the line. They said the car is still there. It's close to the tracks. So but he didn't remember exactly where it was. So I've been following the line back and forth on the satellite trying to find this car. I still haven't found it, but I believe it's near Y Box. Pretty cool car though. A little bit of glass left in it. And it still says gentleman up there where the restroom was. And we're still in North Dakota. Sorry about that. I tried to put the states down in my notes because we're at Beach, North Dakota here. The old Northern Pacific Depot in the shot here has since been torn down. Then it's out into the Badlands from here. This is at Sully Springs. Really cool set of reversing curves here. Nice war bonnet on the point, and then BNSF train behind it. This is a going away view. That's the rear end helpers on that coal train. Uh, and just beyond, just around the curve, there's a siding there. There's a westbound train sitting there. We decided to forego shooting that train at this location here. We jumped in the car, drove into Medora and up to the overlook and got that train coming out of the Badlands. Then it was back to Beach for this westbound train late in the afternoon. Like I said, that depot there has since been torn down. Now we're in the Montana, and my notes do say Montana, so I should. We're at Rosebud, Montana. And I'm not sure if it's pronounced Nib or Nibby, Nibbe, Nibby, Montana. And Laurel. At Laurel, BNSF swings to the south off the Northern Pacific Main Line. Continuing west on the NP is Montana Rail Link. So we're going to pick that up now. Most of these shots here are going to be from Montana Rail Link, although BNSF has haulage rights over it. So there's a lot of BNSF trains still running on it. Going by the depot in Columbus, Montana. Gave chase this train here and got it again at Springtime, Montana. Going past a set of searchlight signals. And there's the top of Bozeman Pass. We got this Montana Rail Link train coming out of the new tunnel, the old tunnel there alongside of it. And then a helper set going away heading back into the new tunnel. Livingston is the eastern base of Bozeman Pass. Here we see a westbound train coming out, ready to tackle the grade. And also near Livingston, another westbound train heading up Bozeman. The east side of the tunnel at the summit is at Muir, Montana. This is a westbound train, still climbing the grade. And then his helpers cut off. Here they come back out of the tunnel. And this is Flynn Creek Road near on the grade going up to the top of Bozeman. We wound up spending some time in Lombard Canyon near Toston. Beautiful location. Still on Montana Rail Link, but as I said, a lot of the BNSF trains run on this. And then Helena is the eastern end of the line over Mullen Pass. And unfortunately for us, Mullen Pass had track work on it until 4 o'clock almost every day. So trains heading up the grade got out right at 4 and got up to the summit right around sunset. But here we see a westbound train getting out of town. The old Northern Pacific Depot there at Helena. Several horseshoe curves, including this one here at Austin. And then the scenic highlight of the line is Skyline Trestle. And then the trains crest the summit at the top of the Continental Divide at Blossburg. And drop back down into Helena again, another westbound train heading up the hill. And here he is going away. Unfortunately, the sun would set before he got up to Skyline Trestle and the top of the grade. So with all the track work going on in on Mullen Pass until 4 o'clock, we backtracked a little bit back in the Lombard Canyon. Spent the day down there. Toston Dam in the photo there. Montana Rail Link power on this train. Then we got a train heading back towards Helena, and there's a little depot that I wanted to shoot at East Helena, and I thought I gave it enough time to get ahead of the train out of Lombard Canyon to get back into East Helena and get the shot. Unfortunately, traffic conspired against us, and we got to East Helena, and the train was just behind us, but going slow, going 25 miles an hour. The tracks were off to our left. To get to the depot required a left-hand turn over the other lanes of the highway, because of the split highway there. Left-hand turn over the other lanes of the highway, which led to a grade crossing. Well, the gates are going down, and because the gates are going down, the light for the left-hand turn that I needed to make stayed red. So I'm like, what do I do? So look in my rear view mirror, the train's crawling, just absolutely crawling. It's nowhere near us yet. So I made a kind of an executive decision, made the left on red, pulled to a screeching halt at the grade crossing, jumped out of the car because the train was crawling and still a little ways away. Normally I wouldn't do this, but the train was crawling. I really wanted the shot. Ran across the tracks and got the shot. From there, we went over to the area around Butte, Montana. over to Anaconda. Um, Still has a roundhouse, what was then the rarest railway. Before this and after this, it was the Butte, Anaconda, and Pacific. And got this rarest train out running. Headed over to Silver Bow, which is sort of in Butte. Who knew Montana had a port? Yes, the port of Montana. And in the same general area of Silver Bow, Scholar Grain had the switcher at its mill. Went over to Deer Lodge and picked up this on the branch line, picked up this BNSF train coming south out of Deer Lodge. And the engineer was pretty cool. Whenever he saw us with our cameras, he just gunned the engines and produced this really cool cloud of smoke. So we got him at Deer Lodge and then beat him down to Racetrack, Montana. Racetrack generally consists of just a farm and a general store. The general store is that red building you can barely see on the far right of the screen there. Back up to Montana Rail Link, we got this train at Spokane Creek, Montana. And then trains are running again up onto Mullen Pass. So we got the 6-unit helper set coming back down the hill, going right to left, crossing over Skyline Trestle. Followed by this downhill BNSF train. We chased them down. This is at the Horseshoe Curve in Austin. Searchlight signals again, really cool. Same train at Austin. And then down near the bottom of the hill, we're in Avon, right around sunset. Train coming in. Time to push further west. We got to DeSmet, another BN train with one of the executive paint scheme locomotives, the Grinstein locomotives on the front. The cream and green. Once again, searchlight signals on the signal bridge back there, kind of cool. Over to St. Regis, we picked up the gas local. The gas local runs over Montana Rail Link. It still runs. Montana Rail Link was leased from BNSF. BNSF terminated the lease. So this is all BNSF now. But the gas local still runs. There was a pipeline that ran through the Native American reservation here. And the tribe decided not to renew the pipeline lease. So to get around the gap in the pipeline, this gas is piped to Billings. I think it's Billings. Put in the tank cars. The railroad runs the bridge where the pipeline can't go anymore and unloads, I believe, over near Laurel now. So here's the gas local at Spring Gulch. It's time to start heading back to the airport in Spokane. So we're going to pick up a BNSF train here and start chasing it west. Got him at Oliverville, at Donlin, crossing over the Clark Fork. Along the Clark Fork at Plains. And coming into Thompson Falls. This is one location I haven't been able to find on a map yet. I know it's between Thompson Falls and this next shot, which is in the town of Clark Fork, Idaho. Now we're in Idaho. This is in Idaho, Clark Fork, Idaho. So eventually I'll figure out where that shot is. Once we got over here into Idaho, we went back over to Lake Pend Oreille, back over to Bottle Bay Road, and got to meet. That's a grain train coming in. Once again, his DPUs, his helpers are out on the bridge still, meeting a train going west. That evening, I met up with a friend, Bruce Kelly, who used to work for Railfan magazine, and he had arranged for us to go over to Hauser, Idaho, to take a tour of the mainline fuel facility there. Trains come in, stay on the main line, get refueled, get service, and away they go. So here we see two westbound trains, both with former Santa Fe power, coming into the fuel pad at Hauser. Here's a eastbound train being sent out of the fuel pad. Westbound train coming in. The tanks on the sides there, they hold sand. They get fresh sand here. And you can see on the sign there, they're servicing scoreboard. In the previous 24 hours, 26 trains were served, 74 units. And the average dwell time was 26 minutes. And they even cleaned the windows here. Another train is finished and being sent out of Hauser. Next morning, we went over into Spokane, where we had the worst weather of the trip. It was raining pretty good. We got this UP train at Trentwood near Spokane. From here, it was off to the airport and fly home. That wrapped up 16 days of the trip, and that also is going to wrap up this week's slideshow. The next slideshow will be on April 30th, the last Wednesday of the month. Tune in then. For the folks watching this on the replay on YouTube, I am going to sign off now.